Because we're implementing SAFe in a large scale, we want to take action. I want to take this action and I want this architectural community to understand this. When such senior person talks like that, everybody started understanding and aligning. It was fantastic, right? End of third day, I was so happy that, Hi, this is JP from LeanWisdom. Welcome back to the Weekend Stories. I was part of a very large transformation. 1,000+ people moving to SAFe, and as part of this, I was conducting multiple workshops. Right? If you know, implementing SAFe comes with certain trainings, right? Certain certification trainings. One of that is leading SAFe. Next is product owner, product manager, and then SAFe Scrum Master, SAFe for architects, and SAFe for teams. So because the transformation was very large, so I was conducting multiple batches of each of these trainings, and one such batch was SAFe for architects. Yeah. So it's a physical training in a classroom workshop, right? In a training in this organization. When I went there, even before going there, 2 days before the training, I was called by one of the leaders and said, "Hey JP, the SAFe for architects workshop that's going to happen in the next 2 days. There are architects coming to attend this. Some of them are not very clear how the SAFe will help, and one of them is very senior architect in this company. Okay, and this company is really large enterprise, so it's thousands of employees. Yeah, and this one senior architect is a chief architect, and he's very respectable person, very technically sound, and he's in the system for a very long time, and he's not very sure whether it's going to help." Now, he also said it's very important that he gets influenced. If he gets influenced, the rest of the technical side of it will be able to manage. I said, good, let's see. Like, when he comes, anyway, it's going to be for 3 days, and he's going to sit with me for 3 days. And the agreement that I made was, hey, can he sit for the full workshop, right? Full training, complete 3 days of SAFe for architects. Agreed for it. So a bunch of around 20 architects were there in the room, around less than 20. And I started on day one. I started talking about what is agility, what is business agility, and then we spoke about architectural runway, right? So the SAFe for architects covers a lot of these topics, right? What is architectural runway? What is the role of architect in terms of architectural runway? What is the role of architecture in building a roadmap for the next couple of PIs? What's the role of architect in terms of building a CI/CD pipeline? What's the role of architect in built-in quality? Right? Apart from architecture, and what are the different types of architectures that are required, and so on, right? So there are quite a few topics. When I started covering day one, first half, this senior leader of this architecture community, he started asking some of the questions, saying that, do you think it is practical? It doesn't make sense. And he started saying that, are you talking about architecture or implementation part of it? Right? Is it possible to do emergent design? Right, and he was not very sure about what is emergent design, how to do emergent design, right? So I went with them, explained all that. End of kind of first day, I sensed that he's kind of started aligning. Yeah. So end of the day, I met him one-on-one, and I asked him, so how is it going for you, right? And he said, yeah, I think it's good. I see some, it makes sense. Some of those topics that we're talking makes a lot of sense. But let me watch, right, the next 2 more days. What I also did is, end of every lesson, because we're implementing SAFe in a large scale, we want to take action. So what I did is, I broke that entire team into multiple smaller teams, right, entire group of 20 people into smaller groups. And I said, hey, you know what, end of every lesson, I want you to take some actions and put it on your board. Right? Create one separate chart for each of you and start writing actions that you need to take so that this is successful. So the action started coming in. Second half of the first day, I started noticing that this leader started involving himself much more. He actively started writing, not telling people to write. He started writing actions, right? See, it's very important to observe these behaviors of the leaders, right? He took the responsibility of taking, and he said, I think what JP said, I think this makes sense. Let us take this. I think architects should have a long-term roadmap and architectural vision. I think we should have a capacity for removal of technical debts. I think we should have a capacity for architectural runway. Not every capacity should go only to building features, right? So started writing, and he started putting a backlog, right? When he started writing, the people around, not only in his table, his team was super involved, and other tables also started watching. Oh, he's serious. And we started looking at the actions. At one point, I saw that quite a few actions are coming from that board. Then I told other guys, be active, right? Listen to me properly, right? I want you to take the right actions. Then, first day went, second day went, third day went. 3 days he was super active. Second and third day he was super active, and he started every lesson. He also started reading because his intention was also that I want to take this action and I want this architectural community to understand this. The fellow architects who are with me that I'm going to work with, and I know he started reading. End of third day, when I was done with the workshop, 3 days of training was done. Then I was asking them, okay, what are the few takeaways from here? He was the first person to stand up and said, JP, I want to read few actions. You know what? This is something I'm going to talk of head of architecture, right? Head of this entire technology and architecture. I'm going to talk about these things, about infrastructure, about technical debts, about quite a few things. And he said, I am personally taking this responsibility. I will make sure that they are addressed well. Okay. And so it was so good. Trust me, a leader like such a leader coming up and talking about it and say that, hey, I am taking the responsibility, right? I will drive it. It's a fantastic thing, right? And the rest of the architects were also aligned. What we did is we made a unique list of all the boards. We split them into 4 different teams. So there are 4 lists of actions they came up with. So we made a unique list of all the actions, and we kind of came up with plan of 30 days, 60 day, 90 day plan. What do you want to achieve out of this? And who will take responsibility? How will we collaborate? It was fantastic, right? End of third day, I was so happy that, okay, this community will take care of certain things, right? This group of architects will make sure that this 1,000+ people will do very good job in terms of architecture and design, right? And even development, like built-in quality. He was taking responsibility. He said, yeah, we should be responsible for quality, guys. We are not just only architects, being a Swamiji and then doing some architecture and going. When such senior person talks like that, everybody started understanding and aligning, right? And when I spoke to them later, when I met them in the 30, 60, 90 days, I saw quite a few things were progressed, right? He made it a point to talk to the leaders, right? Talk to the leaders of the counterparts leadership on the other side, right? And then, convince them. And when I spoke to them recently, like how else you are doing, when I looked at the actions, majority of the actions are pretty much closed, and they made a really good progress, right? So it is not the training alone that will make an impact, right? I've conducted similar workshops multiple times. Right? I've done all the leadership workshops of SAVE. But this one training, which kind of impacted me personally because of the involvement of this leader, a very respectable leader in the company who's coming up and taking up ownership, and he says, I will make this happen. It has a very positive impact because when he says, there is a value for him, right? There is a respect for this leader, and the others listen. The counterparts listen. His leaders listen, right? So this is transformation, always top down. The leaders change, organization change. This is another example I want to share with you. Hope this video was useful, and have a great weekend. See you next week. Bye-bye.